But listen, I gotta get going, make a few stops and shit. I just went to go see my mom's, came straight here.
All right, man.
You know, it don't matter to me what you think of me, Kanan. It don't matter to me at all. I don't need you to love me for me to love you back. I love you so much.
All right, y'all. So I'm pretty sure I might be wrong, and in the future, y'all can always come back to be like, "Nah, man, you got this all wrong. You got this all wrong." And you know what? I'll even admit to my mistakes. But for today's topic, and maybe theory, that I think that everything that's been going on with like raising Kanan like throughout this entire season, they've been throwing us off the loop. They've been honestly been throwing us off the loop, and we've been speculating, maybe wrong and right at the same time. And we was kind of like surprised in certain aspects of the story that they was given to us, and we was like, okay, but then ultimately it kind of like wrapped up now with Snaps and Pops being the ones that killed Famous. Now, before I even get started on today's video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, get on in here. We need more peoples in this community. But I think that going forward with the story that's been given to us and the slow build up to what we all thinking that could probably happen, but may or may not happen at this point, with Raq and Kanan potentially killing Raq. Now, I've said it plenty of times on this channel. I was like, I think that Kanan probably might be the one to take out Raq. But here's the thing, though. The story that has been built up with like Kanan, it would make sense for him to do it. But then when you really think about it, what if Raq actually comes through and she probably be the one to, like I said, like it could probably be Raq and Kanan taking out Snaps and Pops, and for her to redeem herself towards Kanan and be like, well, you know what, I fucked up, I did all this shit to you, right? Like, what if she does, fully apologize to Kanan? Like, what if she really like let him know like what's really going on and what she's truly thinking about, right? To make us believe that, okay, Kanan is not gonna do it, right? And then they probably will come to some sort of they could probably reconcile their differences with each other, and he doesn't kill her. Because here's the thing, I've always said it too, when it comes down to like Kanan and Tariq, where when we've seen like Tariq's story, when Tariq's build up to how he was gonna kill Ghost, right? I wouldn't say it was rushed. It could have been, but I wouldn't say it was. I would say it was probably like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'll probably say that. I think it was sort of rushed, because it wasn't enough build up, in my opinion, for Tariq to kill Ghost. Not in my opinion. Even when Ghost put his hands on Tasha, it still wasn't enough build up for the reason as to why Tariq should kill Ghost, right? And comparing to Kanan, all of the things that Raq did to Kanan, it would have only made sense for Kanan to like eventually take out Raq. But I think that if we being thrown off a loop, and I think they probably not gonna go down that route again of having another character that we like, because I'm pretty sure there's most of us out here who we love Raq, y'all. We fucking love that damn woman. Like, come on now, we love that woman. So I think we probably gonna be thrown off the loop here, and thrown off the scent as well, of we thinking that Kanan is gonna probably kill Raq, because all of the people that, well, I wouldn't say all the people, but I would say like the two people that had it coming was Tasha and Monet, because Monet died in Power Book 2 Ghost, right? Rightfully so, because of what she did to have Lorenzo killed and all, right? And Tasha survived the bullet, because we was thinking Tasha was like, Tommy's gonna probably kill Tasha, but she talked her way out of a bullet, and it never happened. And Tasha gets away scot-free, so we like, okay, nothing doesn't happen to Tasha. She just escapes. Like, that's it for her. So I was like, okay, but then I always said it too, if something was to happen to Monet, what would happen to Raq, right? Because you know how they always like take turns of who dies, who lives, who dies, who lives, right? So it's like, if Monet died, maybe Raq survived, right? Maybe she lives. And I was thinking of a possibility of, I don't know, like if Raq isn't dead, like she could have maybe be in a coma. Like there could be a situation that maybe Raq is even in a coma somewhere, right? Or maybe she could have ended up in prison, right? And maybe Kanan went to go see her at one point. Like maybe she's actually somewhere in prison, or maybe she's somewhere else living like a completely different life. Like she's no longer part of the lifestyle that she was involved with, and she's somewhere else. Because throughout the stories, it was always Kanan being the one to be talked about. Like Kanan, Ghost, Tommy, Breeze, right? Old heads, right? And Raq was never mentioned. Unique was never really mentioned. None of the older people was never really mentioned. It was only Kanan to be like the front and center of the story, to be like, yeah, he was the old head. The RSKs, right? Ghost and Tommy had it at one point. So it was all of the stuff that happened in the past, but again, Raq's name was never really mentioned. So it's like it had me thinking about the story of what they could probably tell between like Raq and Kanan, that we may think that he's gonna do it, and rightfully so, but he probably might not do it, because you know how it always goes, where you know how if a son is really tied to his mom's, he really loves his mother despite everything that she may have done to him, he probably may not kill her. And the perfect example of that would have been with Kane and Monet, because despite Monet killing Lorenzo, or having Lorenzo being killed by Gordo, he was pissed off, very pissed off about it. But as he told Drew when he had the gun on him, and he was like, he put that shit to a side. Yeah, he was hurt and pissed about it, but he said he put that shit to the side because of business. So it's like, would Kanan have that same mindset as Kane, of just pushing all of the hurt and pain that she did to him aside for the sake of business? Because at the end of the day, it's all about making money and about making moves in the street. So it's like, would he do the same thing, right? Obviously, he's not going to forget everything that she did to him, but it's like, he's going to probably maybe push that to the side and just like strictly focus on the business aspect of it all. And he and Breeze take over the streets, and that's how it goes from there. Because we only got like what, 2 more episodes to go, 9 and 10, for us to see like everything that's going to go down, right? And then the 5th season, if the 5th season will be confirmed, if it is like the last, then we're going to see like what ultimately happens to like Raq's character. Like, does she die? Maybe does she end up in a coma somewhere? Does she go to prison? Right? Because she only gets like maybe 3 options in the story, like only like 3 options on either death, prison, coma, well, 4, or if she just leaves. Because I was thinking, I was like, if Raq did decide to like leave and maybe like do her own thing, like what if she actually, I don't know, found Symphony somewhere? Maybe she found Symphony. Maybe Symphony came back to the city, or maybe she just went all off with Symphony somewhere, right? And maybe try to start a life with him, because again, he was the only one that she didn't kill. He got away, and he's somewhere up in the wind somewhere. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe she tracked down Symphony somewhere, and she goes off with Symphony, and then just leave Kane and Breeze, and they take over the streets. Because we do know something is gonna have to happen where she has to step away permanently. And if Kanan is not gonna kill Raq, then what's gonna probably happen to her character, where it's gonna forcibly, he has to like take the reins from her and be like, no, you can't take over the streets anymore. He needs to do it, but it's like, how is gonna be done? Because Raq is stubborn. She's not gonna just willingly just say, all right, Kane, I'm just gonna give you the streets and you can just go. No, because it's in her. It's like how Ghost was with Tommy, where Tommy was always, headstrong about staying in the game. It was never about leaving. Ghost was trying to tell Tommy that it's a better option to just, doing all this shit in the streets, where you can do things better rather than just selling and then looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. So she has that mentality within her of wanting to sell the drugs and never give up the street life. But if something big happens where she has no choice but to give up the streets, this is why I still believe that maybe if Marvin or Lulu was to die, then the fault will be brought on her. Like, what if it's so much guilt that she can't handle, where she has no choice but to leave, right? And then probably trying to convince Kanan right? To be like, no, I would say almost like the total opposite of how Tariq was with Tasha, where despite, Tariq winning at the end, he was like, no, I'm gonna like, handle the things I need to handle, but you and Yaz go away, right? Like y'all go far away so that way no enemies in the future could come and target my weaknesses, which is y'all, and I can fully take over the streets. But he did that because, he wanted that. But I think that if like guilt and loss was to like really affect Rock, then that would be another way for her to like fully step back and be like, okay, she can't handle it. She can't handle, like the trauma and the death of, Lulu and Marvin. If it potentially happens on, it was her fault because she was the person in charge, despite her always like getting on like Marvin and blaming him like, oh, he's a fuck up, he's a screw up. But she got Marvin killed. Like, what if she was the one that got Marvin killed and maybe Lulu killed potentially, and it's her fault and she can't bear the pain of it? And then that's another way you could think of her stepping back and she can't take over the streets, right? And then Kanan has to take over, right? I could see it that way playing out as well. So I think there's a lot of ways that they could probably like spin this story on having like Kanan like take over the streets. Another idea too, I thought of, if Kanan doesn't do it, then somebody else would probably do it. But I'm like, no, because Rock is a beloved character. I don't think they want to go down that route again. Like somebody shoots Rock or he kills Rock or whatever, then we gonna probably be saying the same shit. Rock's alive, Rock's alive. Making fucking like 50 fucking videos and like Rock's alive, Rock's alive. So it's just like, no. The definitive story, if season 5 is it, should be, where they give us like, okay, is she alive? Is she dead? But I'm gonna probably say she probably might be alive. She probably might be alive here because again, if when future Kanan told Ghost and Tommy like, yeah, he went to go see his mom's, and as I said, we don't know if he said this when if she was alive or she was dead. We don't know. We don't exactly know what that meant by he went to go see her. So again, there's ways that they can actually spin the story on having Kanan take over the streets from Rock, and how Rock probably is gonna deal with maybe the aftermath of what's gonna happen. Because I'm like, come on now, like we're already in season 4, and something bad is gonna probably either happen maybe in this season or probably in the next season. But like between like Marvin or Lulu, it has to be. It has to be. I know some of y'all's probably like thinking I want Marvin or Lulu to die, but I'm like, I don't. I love the characters, but it's just like something has to happen at this point. They can't just be the big three murking everybody in the streets and nothing happens to them. So I'm like, no, because in my opinion, the return of Unique was sort of a letdown. In my opinion, it was sort of a letdown because I'm like, I get it. Like the actor who plays this Ronnie had his own thing, but you bring Unique back, and I feel like he's a letdown. Yeah, he has some cool moments here and there, but it's like it was a letdown. We didn't see a different Unique. We seen the same Unique, right? The only crazy difference is that he killed OC, but it's like Ronnie could have did that shit. Ronnie could have fucking did that. He could have been like fucking just with those cold eyes of his, and he could have did this shit rather than Unique doing it. So I'm like, but overall, what do you guys think of the possibility of Rock being alive, right? Maybe she's off somewhere else, like she could have a nice life with Symphony, or maybe she has a life of her own somewhere else. Do you think she could potentially be in prison, right? Or is she in a coma somewhere, right? She only got 4 options. 4 options of what could probably happen to Rock, right? 4 options, but overall, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I catch you all in the next one.